At 4:23 a.m. on June 6, 1944, inside the German command bunker in Berchtesgaden, Bavaria, Adolf Hitler was asleep. Deeply asleep. Meanwhile, 1,247 kilometers away, on the coast of Normandy, France, 156,000 Allied soldiers were storming the beaches. It was D-Day, the largest amphibious invasion in human history. And Hitler was sleeping. Because he was absolutely convinced the invasion would happen somewhere else. In Calais. 280 kilometers to the north. And the reason Hitler believed this had nothing to do with armies, generals, or secret weapons. It was because of one man. A man Hitler never met. A man who never fired a single shot, never sabotaged a bridge, never stole classified files. Yet he deceived the most powerful military machine on earth. With a corpse, forged letters, and the greatest lie of World War II. His name was Ewen Montagu. And this is the story of how he changed the course of history with an operation so audacious, so absurd, that no one believed it could possibly work, except that it did. Perfectly. Ewen Edward Samuel Montagu was born in London in 1901. He was Jewish. A lawyer. A father of two. About 5'7" tall. He wore round glasses and spoke with a calm, polite voice. Nothing about him looked like a wartime spy. When he volunteered for military service in 1939 at the age of 38, the recruiter hesitated and asked if he was sure. The army, after all, was physically demanding. Montagu smiled and replied, "I don't intend to shoot anyone. I intend to think." And that is exactly what he did. In March 1942, Montagu was assigned to one of Britain's most secret intelligence units, the Naval Intelligence Deception Section. Its mission was simple in theory and devastating in practice. Lie. Lie so convincingly that the enemy would make strategic decisions based entirely on false information. Montagu excelled at this, not because he was dishonest, but because he understood something fundamental. The best lies are the ones that feel too real to question. By January 1943, the Allies faced a massive problem. To defeat Nazi Germany, they had to invade Europe. The obvious route was Sicily. It was close to North Africa, strategically vital, and defended by only 230,000 German and Italian troops. The problem was precisely that it was obvious. Hitler knew it too. An invasion of Sicily would mean fortified beaches, landmines, heavy artillery, and slaughter. British intelligence estimated over 40,000 Allied casualties in the first 3 days alone. So Allied commanders asked a desperate question. How do we convince Hitler that Sicily is not the target? That's when Ewen Montagu raised his hand and said something unthinkable. We send him a dead body. The plan was terrifyingly simple. They would take a human corpse, dress it as a high-ranking British officer, place fake military documents in its pockets, suggesting the real invasion would strike Greece and Sardinia, not Sicily. Release the body into the sea near Spain. And wait. Wait for neutral but Nazi-sympathetic Spain to find the body. Wait for the documents to reach German intelligence, and hope Hitler would believe them. When Montagu presented the plan, the room fell silent. One officer finally said, "You're proposing to fake a plane crash, with a dead man carrying false secret documents, and just hope the Germans find it." Montagu answered calmly, "Yes." The officer shook his head. "That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard." Montagu smiled. "Exactly. That's why it will work." The first challenge was the corpse. It couldn't be just anyone. It had to be a man between 30 and 40 years old, recently deceased, with no close family, and whose cause of death could plausibly resemble drowning. After searching hospitals and morgues, Montagu found Glyndŵr Michael, a 34-year-old Welshman, homeless, dead from rat poison ingestion. The crucial detail. Rat poison causes fluid buildup in the lungs, virtually indistinguishable from drowning during a basic autopsy. With legal permission from distant relatives, Montagu secured the body. Now, Glyndŵr Michael needed to become someone else. He became Major William Martin, Royal Marines. Montagu didn't just invent a name. He built an entire life. Oxford educated. Catholic. Engaged to a woman named Pam. Photographs of Pam were taken. Love letters were written. Emotional, intimate, believable. His pockets were filled with theater tickets, receipts, loose change, cigarettes, keys, and even a letter from a bank demanding repayment of a debt. That detail was brilliant. Heroes don't have debts. Real people do. Finally came the centerpiece, a letter referencing real military operations, casually suggesting that Greece and Sardinia were the true invasion targets, while Sicily was merely a distraction, a lie hidden inside the truth. The mission was named Operation Mincemeat. In April 1943, the body, now Major Martin, was placed inside a refrigerated steel container and loaded onto the submarine HMS Seraph. The destination was Huelva, Spain, a city known to host German intelligence operatives. Days later, a Spanish fisherman discovered the body floating offshore. The documents were copied, passed quietly to the Germans, and sent straight to Berlin. German intelligence investigated everything. They verified the name, the university, the signatures, the handwriting, and the love letters. The autopsy confirmed death by drowning. Everything checked out. One man suspected the truth. His name was Alexis von Roen. He wrote an 11-page report explaining why the documents were likely fake. But Hitler never read it. The report was buried by Wilhelm Canaris, head of German intelligence, and secretly anti-Nazi. Canaris personally told Hitler the documents were genuine, and Hitler believed him. The consequences were immediate. German divisions were pulled from Sicily. Tanks were relocated. Coastal defenses were reduced by nearly half. When the Allies invaded Sicily, they found lightly defended beaches. Instead of 40,000 casualties, they lost just over 2,700 men. Sicily fell in 38 days. Italy began negotiating surrender weeks later. Operation Mincemeat had saved tens of thousands of lives, with a corpse, forged letters, and a brilliant lie. After the war, Montagu revealed the story in a book titled The Man Who Never Was. It became an international bestseller. For decades, the true identity of the body remained secret. Montagu believed Glinder Michael deserved dignity, not exposure. Only in the 1990s did historians uncover the truth. A homeless man, forgotten in life, had altered the course of the war. Operation Mincemeat became the foundation of modern deception warfare. It inspired later operations, including the one that convinced Hitler the D-Day invasion would strike Calais instead of Normandy. Its legacy lives on in intelligence agencies, military academies, and modern information warfare. And it raises a haunting moral question. Is it ethical to lie to save lives? Montagu answered that question simply. I slept better knowing I lied than I would have knowing tens of thousands died because I didn't. In the end, the story of Ewen Montagu teaches us 3 timeless lessons. The most powerful weapon is the human mind. Failure is part of success, and even the forgotten can become heroes. Glinder Michael never knew he saved thousands of lives, yet his grave still receives flowers from people he never met, from countries he never visited, because the purest form of heroism is never knowing you are a hero at all. The end.